Welcome to One for the Road. I'm Devvy Kid and your commentator. One for the Road was developed and created to help the busy commuter and Americans who don't have access to the internet find out what Congress and the media won't tell you. This next segment is U.S. banks knowingly fund mortgages to illegal aliens. The issue of illegal aliens is an issue of law. It is not an issue of racism. It is not an issue of discrimination. It is an issue of law and national security. This was one of my columns in May of 2005. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation is encouraging banks to sign up illegal aliens in the banking system, calling the growth of the market a compelling incentive for U.S. banks to enter this largely untapped market. But there are clear laws on the books for the integrity of the immigration system. Under the U.S. Criminal Code, it is a crime punishable by 10 years in jail for aiding and abetting someone in this country illegally for commercial gain. And the Bank Secrecy Act of 1972 makes it clear banks must know their customer, and any illegal activity must be reported to the government. Those words were spoken by Lou Dobbs on his show March 21, 2005. The FDIC, another so-called independent government operation like the privately owned Federal Reserve, is knowingly and vigorously encouraging their organization and its employees to violate federal law. For the FDIC to encourage lawlessness because of what they call the growth of the market being a compelling incentive for U.S. banks to enter this largely untapped market has got to be the most insane psychobabble I have ever heard in my life. These criminals, illegal aliens, who break the law to enter this country have no rights and are subject to immediate deportation, not bank loans. In a September 20th, 2004 column by Keith Benman of the Indiana Times, Benman wrote, quote, TCF Bank is the first bank to open the door to home loans for undocumented immigrants in Northwest Indiana. Fifth Third Bank plans to follow suit this month. TCF and Third Bank will be among the largest banks in the United States to offer the new loans. They join about 15 other banks in the Midwest to do so. A year ago, this opportunity just didn't exist. Fifth Third already has a waiting list for the loans, according to Craig Pratt, a Fifth Bank senior vice president based in Maryville. TCF, which markets them under the name My American Home, has closed on more than 10 since starting to offer these mortgages in late July. According to TCF's Mr. Krell, we know the potential of the market could be 500,000 individuals in Illinois and Indiana. Excuse me? They're acknowledging that at least 500,000 criminals, illegal aliens, are in their area and that they're perfectly willing to violate federal law to give these people who can skip back across the border more home mortgages. Mr. Boskin of Fifth Third Bank says in the same column, we estimate this is a segment of the market that will provide the kind of growth we are looking for in our consumer lending division, unquote. Remarkable. The final kicker in Benman's piece, quote, in the past, banks and mortgage lenders have required loan applicants to provide Social Security numbers when applying for mortgages. TCF Bank does not require Social Security numbers for its My American Home loans, and Fifth Third will not require them for its new product, unquote. Illegal aliens are criminals. They're not undocumented workers. Yet these criminals can obtain bank loans in violation of federal law and home loans without a Social Security number. Just try to do that as an American citizen at your bank, and you'll be shown the door. Does anyone wonder why this invasion has succeeded so well? You've got a president who condones illegals smuggling themselves into our country and wants to give them a free pass. Instead of taking a hard line against this invasion decades ago, Congress continues to waste their time on more unconstitutional legislation where they have no jurisdiction. Example, steroid use by professional ball players and the gang problem within the sovereign states of the Union. If either of these issues become federal law, they will not withstand a constitutional challenge, and I encourage everyone to read Lopez versus the U.S. and Marbury versus Madison, which are links in this column. Once again, Congress is clearly overstepping their legislative authority. Where is the Department of Justice while these banks are knowingly soliciting and doing business with illegals in violation of criminal law? Think Attorney General Gonzalez will do anything? Forget it. Gonzalez and Bush go back a long way. While chief counsel to the Texas governor, Bush, Alberto Gonzalez pulled a behind-the-scenes good old boys deal that resulted in getting Bush excused from jury duty in 1996. This kept Bush from having to disclose he'd been arrested and convicted for drunk driving in Maine back in 1976. Alberto Gonzalez served on the board of directors of one of La Raza's affiliates, the Association for the Advancement of Mexican Americans in Houston. La Raza is a militant organization that openly advocates overthrowing our government and reclaiming the 4 border states for Mexico. They should have been indicted for sedition over a decade ago, but the Department of Justice has continued to turn a blind eye. No one is above the law. Congress should immediately demand the Department of Justice uphold the law and begin prosecuting all management-level individuals in the FDIC, bank CEOs, vice presidents, and managers for violation of federal immigration law and the Bank Secrecy Act of 1972. And no fines. Banks have lots of money. It's time these people who knowingly break federal laws get jail time just like anyone else. Congress should also move immediately to get the lists of all illegals who have open bank accounts or loans with these banks, turn them over to immigration, and begin deporting these criminals. Will that happen? No. In case Americans haven't noticed, the federal government and many of its agencies, including Congress, have become nothing more than lawbreakers, fostering lawlessness throughout this land. Where is your outrage, America? And I want to go ahead and give you a little bit more information from a man named Frosty Wooldridge. He also writes for News with Views, and his single issue is illegal immigration and how it has destroyed this country. His columns are found on newswithviews.com, but this is just some of the things that he reports on. Frosty's single issue is illegal immigration and what it's doing to this country. If you do have computer access, I hope you will take the time to read his columns on this critical issue. They will scare the heck out of you, and they are based on documented facts. Back on February 23rd, 2005, Frosty wrote, America is under attack via third world momentum. As more illegal aliens sneak past our borders without being screened for diseases, they disperse throughout our country carrying a backpack full of Center for Disease Control consequences. Within the past few years, leprosy, tuberculosis, hepatitis, Chagas disease, and even malaria have jumped over our borders from Mexico on the backs of an average 10,000 illegal aliens a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Our borders are no safer today than before 9/11, and in fact more dangerous. The national media-worthy traumas, which occurred 2 years ago at Chi-Chi restaurants in Monaco, Pennsylvania, with hepatitis killing patrons who ate there, got very little play. Later we read where police, teachers, and students tested positive for tuberculosis all around the country. All of it related to illegal aliens crossing into the U.S. without health screening. Last year, another third world disease rose its ugly head in Oregon. It may have spread to other states across our nation. It won't get the play of the deadly attacks of hepatitis or tuberculosis, however. For American children exposed to this disease, it's a personal nightmare for parents.